Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. Happy Friday as we get ready and set for the weekend. Kind of crazy things going on today, you know?
A lot of crazy things. The border is really all messed up. And if you think, we talked about it a couple of days ago. We mentioned that there were like 3,000 people or 5,000 people who came across in 3 days. And we thought that was pretty amazing. But I just heard today that in 5 days, 15,000 people have come through one border area, the Eagle Pass area in Texas. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable what's happening in Texas right now. So much so that, I don't know that you heard this or not, yesterday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has declared an invasion, finally. I don't know what took him so long, but he officially declared an invasion at the southern border, attributing it to the Mexican drug cartels.
Right.
He said this declaration comes as he takes a firm stance finally, okay? What's going to happen, he says, I officially declared an invasion at our southern border because of Biden's policies. We deployed the Texas National Guard, DPS, and local law enforcement. We're building a border wall, razor wire, and marine barriers. We're also repelling migrants. This is from Governor Greg Abbott. Finally, now I guess it's an official thing you have to do in order to be able to put all that stuff up. You know, he was having a problem with those water buoys that he put out there.
Oh, yeah. They were rendered, well, I forget what they said, but they were basically saying
they were inhuman and, all that nonsense.
Yeah, inhumane, yes. But anyway, he's got the Department of Public Safety, which is, and you're talking about the Texas Rangers, Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers. That's all in that same umbrella there in Texas.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is, they're only going to go over to Arizona. I mean, they're just going to slide a little bit further in another direction, and they'll surge the Arizona border. Although I guess there's a lot of desert in Arizona, so it's not an easy terrain to to cross into.
Have you been in Texas?
Yes, I have been in Texas. Yes, I have been in Texas.
There's a lot of cacti there. So it's like that everywhere. Texas, Arizona may do the same thing because they're kind of set up the same way too. As far as their law enforcement. But I don't know.
But you know what? It's humiliating. It's embarrassing that we have to do it. We have to rely on the states to protect our border, and we have a federal government that is making it so difficult to do the right thing. The right thing, by the way, is to protect our borders.
Absolutely. But we're not doing that, and trust me, they're going to do something to unravel it. Again, not Texas, but the federal government, because it seems that they. I'm trying to think of another term besides the one I'm thinking of, but, they do anything they can to block every move you make. They got to counter block it to get in our way, which means there's an agenda that's out there. You heard about the meeting yesterday with Joe and Zelensky?
Well, I had that, but before we go into that, I just wanted to mention that apparently they're going to, the federal government is going to try to throw obstacles in the path of Abbott and the Texas decisions. It's not going to be, okay, we're going to put all these barriers up now and keep people out of Texas. No, that's not good for the federal government. They're going to actually go in and try to go to court and get many of their decisions repealed, and who is the federal government working for? Are they working for Bill Knight and Jim Harrington?
No.
Or are they working for some stranger from another country who just strolls in and expects everything? Bill, you're retired, I'm retired, we have Social Security and things like that. A lot of people do our age. And do you realize that the illegal migrants into the country get much more than you get? Much more than I get. They get
what do they get?
They get about $2,500 a month. I mean, I know you look right now. You look surprised. I can see you.
Well,
But
that's a
true.
lot of money. I
It
mean,
is.
yeah. I mean,
They get about $2,500 resettling, food, things like that. It is a gold mine for a lot of these people. They've never seen $2,500 a month in their life. So many of them, and now they're coming in and they're getting it.
Yeah, the sad thing is we have a lot of people that have worked their whole lives here, pursuing the American dream, and in their time they did a great job at it. But
Yeah.
the dynamics of the economy have changed, and like you mentioned, 2,500. Now I get more than that, but the point is, not everybody does, and I'm not the norm in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I know that do it.
I'll bet you the average that they get, got a figure, was $1,400 a month.
That's exactly right. Somewhere between 1,400 and 1,800.
Yeah.
And you add up your bills. You go try to buy a house, because now technically it doesn't matter where your money comes from. The fact is you got the money coming in, and you can show that you can guarantee that. They can't discriminate against you if you're 72 years old and you want to go buy a new house and you've never owned one. You got that money coming in. It's guaranteed. Theoretically, you're qualified, but you may not be qualified for that much. Interest rates, cost of everything, so when you get to the bare bones facts, these immigrants coming across the border are getting guarantees better than a citizen that's lived here all their life, put in their due diligence, worked hard, and this is what you earn. And then you can sit there and be a drug peddling doofus.
Yeah.
Come across the border.
And a lot of these people, they did an interview the other day with a bunch of military-age men who were they had just crossed the border. They were just sitting there waiting for their stuff to be handed to them. And the reporter said, what country are you from? I'm from Ceylon. What country are you from? I'm from Colombia. What country are you from? I'm from Venezuela. What country are you from? I'm from Africa. What country are you from? Nigeria. Oh, okay. What country? I mean, these are not just people who are coming from Central America. These are not people coming from, Venezuela alone. These are people who are coming from China, India, the Ukraine, Russia. The sign is out around the globe right now. The signs are out. Head for America, no questions asked. Stop by. The pot of gold is waiting for you in the United States. Don't go through customs. Don't go through New York or Boston or Washington, D.C. or any of those places. No. Head for Mexico City, hop on a bus or a train, go north, and walk across the border, and it becomes the land of opportunity for you. People say, we're a land of immigrants. Hey, my family came here the legal way. I had a grandmother who spent 2 weeks on Ellis Island because she came... I was just going to
mention Ellis Island.
She came alone. They put her in isolation. She was 22 years old from Ireland. She came alone, and they didn't want her to enter the country unchaperoned. Unchaperoned. I'm serious. 1900. So they put this pretty young woman, isolated her on an area on Ellis Island, and she had to wait for 2 weeks for somebody to come down from where she was going to receive her into the country. Otherwise, they were going to send her back to Ireland. I mean, that was 1900. You couldn't get into this country if you weren't chaperoned. Now, these fools in Washington are literally ignoring every single law that we have with regards to immigration, every one of them, and just sending them in.
Well, Jim, I don't think they know the laws of immigration. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing this in a lot of different areas of the government with bureaucracy and everything and what they control. You ask right hand what the rules are, and right hand will give you a set of rules. You ask left hand what the rules are, different set of rules, but it's the same department because we got so damn many laws
but Bill,
on top of laws that we don't.
But here's what they do know. They know that they want to give them an ID. Every one of them, they want to give them an ID.
Yeah, they're voters.
Because states like Pennsylvania, All they'll do is when you come to register for your license in Pennsylvania, you will sign your papers, show that illegal ID, but it's an ID, and you'll get your license and you'll be registered to vote. Now, all my life, I was told you had to be a U.S. citizen to vote in U.S. elections. The Democrats and the left want to destroy that. They want to have the voter rolls padded with these people who have come in from other countries, and they don't care where they're from. They don't care whether they've taken the oath of citizenship. All they care about is that you vote for a Democrat, because it didn't work out so well, in 2016. They didn't have enough illegals in the country, but that's going to be solved.
Well, the other thing they're trying to do, and I don't have the story in front of me, but I did read about it, where they're talking about just the population that's here that is, real Americans. Yeah. Not everybody is registered to vote. Not everybody wants to, play a part in the system. But they're doing a thing now where they automatically will ask you or register you. And even if you're registered now as a Democrat or a Republican, whatever you are, they're going to go back and say, well, it's time that you actually re-up your registration. Now, if you say, yeah, okay, I'm this, then they have to do that. But if you don't do that, they're going to sit there and poof, you're going to be registered whether you want to be or not. And if you
so if you're already registered, let's say as a Democrat or a Republican, if you don't re-register, they will automatically put you into a category of their choice?
That's how I understood it. They wouldn't. They kind of danced around it saying, well, you'll be registered, but they didn't say as what. Well, wait a minute. But it doesn't matter. Let's just say that, I forget what the number was. I heard it once, but let's just say 40% of the American population gets out and votes.
Right.
All right? Mm-hmm. So what happens to the other 60% that don't, that's all rigged anyway? Well, apparently that 60% is right, but now they're going to be part of the rigging because they're going to be registered whether they know it or not, and chances are they're going to be registered to a party that they want nothing to do with. And so if you go back and do the back, like everybody questioned whether Joe really won. Nobody showed up at his rallies or anything like that. How did he get that many votes? It's impossible. There's not that many people out there that can vote. Well, now there will be. There will be enough numbers on the records that will sit there. They go, yeah, they came from that pile over there. And we don't have to qualify anybody. Those are registered voters. So they're already setting up the steal. They're stealing your rights to vote.
We are in a bad situation right now because the controls, the government controls, are in the hands of, in my opinion, they're in the hands of traitors. People who don't have the best interest of the United States of America. That's not what they're thinking about. They're thinking about the best interest of their party and of their personal situations. If you were thinking about the country, you would never do something like they're doing on the border right now. When Governor Abbott said this is an invasion, and I said it's about time, better late than never. But he described it for what it really is. It is an invasion. We have strangers, people we don't know, people who were uninvited, who are storming the borders. Literally, they're making it so that so many are coming across. It's a full court press, folks. We can't stop them with the number of Border Patrol people we have. We can have all the Border Patrol people on the rosters standing across the border, and we wouldn't have enough people to keep the people out who are coming across the border. I mean, think about it. 40,000 people in 5 days in Eagle Pass? The town of Eagle Pass is 22,000 people alone. So it doubled its size just by people coming across. Did you hear about what's happening in Houston? Some real estate developer in Houston has decided I can make some money with this, and I think he's working hand in hand with the federal government. But they found a big parcel of desolate property, I guess, and they're building a town for illegals. And already there are like 40,000 illegals living there. They're getting homes. They have stores. They're building a new Texas city for illegals.
Question. I remember a while back we talked about the homeless here and the people that are destitute and taking abandoned cities. I think we did this about 6 months ago and sat there and said, why don't we take something like that and get developers to come in and build it into something and give these guys careers and what things that they can do there and build something like that. My point of bringing this up, what about people that are American citizens that are here that have fallen on hard times? Why don't we take care of our own first before we help out these?
What the heck have we done? What has the Biden administration done for the homeless on the streets of Los Angeles?
Not a damn thing.
Nothing. They don't. Do they even get new tents to sleep in? I don't think so.
No,
I
they
mean,
don't.
We've got veterans who have given their all for their country, who are injured. Many of them have PTSD, and they have struggles, and they need assistance. And this government doesn't give a rat's you know what. They don't care.
No, they don't care. And the other thing that they do is the war on drugs. It doesn't seem like we're fighting it. It seems like we're helping it. And there's videos all over YouTube where YouTubers are going out there, to build a channel. And they're going into cities like Philadelphia where there's certain areas of the town where it looks like a bombed out Beirut. And there are people just the zombie apocalypse. It's the drugs that are eating their brains alive, and it's sad, but this is America. You've got it in Boston. You've got it in New York. You've got it in Philly. You got it in Pittsburgh.
If this invasion has proved one thing, it's proven that if we were an honest and fair country and we weren't taking all of these illegals into our country, we could do a real big job solving our homeless problem in our country. Meaning, we put all these people up in like the Roosevelt Hotel in New York. We put them up in all these different fancy Best Westerns and Hampton Inns all over the country. They got nice. Why couldn't we take the people who really need it in our country and house them and get them on their feet? We probably could. We probably could get them rehabilitated. We probably could get people who have drug problems, veterans who are in need of real assistance. We probably could help them out big time. But we're not. It's not priority piece. It's not. They're not a vote, Bill. They're not a vote.
They're not a vote, but and the votes are about control. And right now, as prices soar and whatnot, they say, well, we don't have enough people to fill the jobs. And, that's a bunch of crock. So you're going to bring in all these illegals, and now they're vetted to where they can work here. All right. One thing is when there's not an abundance of labor somewhere, wages do go up. It gets competitive. Do you think that all these illegals are going to drive up our competitive nature and salaries, or are we going to become a China to where, you're going to be doing your job for 12 cents an hour?
Now they're making, it's funny how they break the law, and then once the law is broken, if you do something to try to rectify the problem that they've created, they call you the problem. They call you the troublemaker. For example, they allow these illegals to come into our country. I mean, you'll all probably remember that audio clip of Biden during the campaign where he said, I would surge the border. He was encouraging people on the election podium to, come across the borders. Just come in as many as you want. And he got his wish. But now here we have all these strangers walking the streets, all of these illegals, and now we're supposed to give them jobs. Now they're supposed to work in this country. And my question is, whose jobs are they going to take, because some American might have had a job that this guy who's not supposed to be here is going to get.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to take our jobs. There's no doubt about that.
They have these auto workers up in Michigan, and they're striking. And my question is, what's going to stop the auto manufacturers to say, hey, we're going to hire all these illegals because we can now, and we're going to train them, and they're going to work the line, and they're going to work the line for half of what we're paying you, and that's that.
Well, why do we need illegals to come in and take jobs that we got people striking for better pay? I mean, we have the technology. We can sit there and just put automation in. There you go. We don't need you. We don't need the automation. All we need is corporations. But we do need people to buy the stuff. The illegals can't unless we get what the economics of this really don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Somebody's going to have to we need an adult driving this bus. We really need somebody who understands the problems, and I don't know. I mean, I think, by the way, that Trump understands the problem. That's me. I know there are people out there who don't like Trump. They're probably like, oh, God, he's a Trump. Hey, I just look at what he did the first term. Forget everything else. He was being attacked. He was being attacked every single day by the left. I mean, he was being impeached. He was being told about this Russia hoax, which was proven to be dishonest. And he still performed at an incredibly high level. Our economy was way up. He put tariffs on countries like China. We were making money off of our relationship with China because of Trump. But not now. Biden has capitulated. He's bent over, and you know what he's done. He's literally put us in the most embarrassing situations. We could go on and on. All I can tell you, friends, is pray for our country, because we are really in a bad situation with this government right now. I hear Trump say, we have to have a change in the upcoming election. I don't know whether we're going to make it. I really don't. I just think all the damage these people are doing, and they have the pedal to the metal. They aren't slowing down. They're not coasting to the finish line. They're racing to the finish line. I think they figure if they're not going to win in 2024, if we can't fix it, if Trump gets 200 million votes and we just can't print as many phony ballots and he wins, at least we will gotten as much as we can in the time remaining.
What was that movie a while back? I forget what it was. The two women that kind of went on a splurge.
It was Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, and you know the scene. They're racing in the car. We're in that car right now.
Oh, I know.
Racing to fly off the cliff.
Yep.
Down to crash below.
Yes.
Get ready, folks. We don't have wings, and there's no parachute.
It's a sad situation. Of course, so many people still aren't paying attention. They're more interested in, who's out for Sunday's game and who's playing for Sunday's game. Which is all fun. We all need a distraction. I'll be honest with you.
Tom Brady?
No, Tom Brady's retired.
No, he's thinking about unretiring.
Well,
I thought that's why you brought it up.
Well, no, they actually were talking about him going to the Jets, but he actually said forget about it. At least that's the last I heard. They want him to. The teams think that at what is he, 45 years old or something like that? They think even at 45, he's still got better legs and a better arm than a lot of young players. But
I think his ego would let him go for it too. Not that. He's got an ego.
Yeah, he's got a heck of an arm. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Fester is in the news.
I have it.
Yeah.
Yep. About the stroke.
Yeah, now after his doctor said that he was in recovery, he's doing well and everything, he broke down in tears about his lost ability to fully process language.
Thank you for coming. And for me, it's been a very personal issue with me. And I'm going to show this, and then I'm going to describe this to others. This is my iPhone, and this is a transcription service that allows me to fully participate in this meeting and conversations with my children and interacting with my staff. I had a stroke about 18 months ago, and I have lost my ability to fully process language. And I like to think I was an empathetic person, truly. But until that happened, I've raised to a whole different kind of level as well. And it's profound to know, though, that I never really considered that without this kind of technology, I couldn't watch television. And I can't imagine if I didn't have this kind of a bridge to allow me to communicate with other people effectively. And, because I live in a political environment, I was ridiculed and made fun of because I wasn't able to process things sometimes or say things. So I'm so sorry that I'm sure many of you had to go through this kind of thing. I was lucky that I was lucky enough to go through my life, the vast majority of that, without this kind of disability that I have. But again, I can't imagine and how the challenges, and I admire everyone that has to kind of live with these kind of struggles and prevail over them. And the questions that I have is really more of an open-ended kind of question to everyone on the panel. How can we become more empathetic, more responsive, and more effective senators to provide the kind of support and services that anyone in these communities deserve to be a citizen here in our nation? Mr. Westbrook.
Anyway, that's about it. But I thought it was interesting. Nobody. You have to be a pretty cold soul to not sympathize with a man who's gone through what he's gone through physically. He has gone through a terrible time. He had a stroke. But that being said, what I have an issue with is that he and his doctor and his people, they minimized it to the media. They minimized it to the public.
October 14th, 2022. Yeah, they minimized it. They sat there and they said,
"Oh, it's no big deal. It's
previously established care with me as his primary care physician overall. They're saying he's recovering well from his stroke, and his health has continued to improve." So they're saying that he improved. Now, I will tell you, in other interviews I've heard, he actually didn't sound that bad there, but I thought, what a disingenuous fool, because he's talking about other people that have more empathy and everything like that. Really? Didn't I hear a news clip last week? It's scary. He's making fun of other people. Shut up, you hypocrite.
Well, what else gets me, too, is, he if he really wanted us to look at him with respect, he would dress the part of a U.S. senator. Now, even if he doesn't like the uniform, it is the uniform, or has been historically for centuries now, a suit and a tie. And literally, he goes into the Senate chambers wearing a hoodie and baggy shorts and flip-flops. And we're supposed to look at him like we look at the other senators who dress to the nines. It shows respect and appreciation for the position by wearing that uniform, and it also is a reflection on the state that you represent. I mean, he's from Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's a very important state. It's been a great state since our inception. Yet this clown represents us by going into the Capitol, looking worse, by the way, than many of the people who are going to jail for invading it on January 6th. There are a lot of people who went in on January 6th who walked between the lines when they got into the building, who walked around like they were tourists, who were invited by the Capitol Police into different rooms, and then Some of them were arrested and now are going to jail for years. I mean, I just read yesterday, an independent journalist. Did you hear about this? An independent journalist I think his name is Horn, Stephen Horn.
Right.
He was found guilty of multiple charges, and they were silly charges, you know. He was the guy who took the video of the Capitol Police throwing one of the protesters off the balcony. And the protester was hurt so bad he was taken away unconscious to the hospital. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know whether anybody does. But the fact is, and I did see the video, and you can find it right now on the internet, the Capitol Police took one of the protesters who was on the railing on the upper level of the Capitol, and they pushed him off. You know, you don't push off people off a balcony. The answer to the problem isn't to kill the protesters, okay? But that's what the Capitol Police tried to do, at least to that one person, and they killed Ashley Babbitt. We all know that. And there was one other, I can't remember the poor lady's name, who was trampled to death.
Right.
So, and they talk about Capitol Police as being the victims, and all of them, the ones who've died of either natural causes, or I guess one of them committed suicide days or weeks later. They weren't as a direct result. The one they did talk about was actually working the day of the protest, and he looked fine on video.
Mm-hmm. You know, when somebody commits suicide, there's something mentally bothering them about something that's gone on, something they did maybe. Mm-hmm. You know, so, and because I've heard them talk about, it's caused some of our people to commit suicide. What did you have them do that was so bad, that was so terrible, that they can't deal with it in their brain, that they had to go and take their lives?
You want to hear another strange? Want to hear another strange thing I heard yesterday?
All right.
It kind of goes in this direction. It's not suicide per se, but you know that F-35 plane that they couldn't find, and then they finally found a debris area, and they said, "Oh, it crashed in North Carolina," and they cordoned the area off, and you couldn't get in, and no drones.
What a nice way to get rid of an expensive plane and give away the technology.
Well, here's something I heard yesterday. I heard, and this is just, I cannot believe this could possibly be the case, that the pilot had instructions to fire on an American city.
Really?
And he couldn't do it, so he ejected. Now, that, I heard it, when I heard it, I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. But what the hell is
what
ridiculous?
What city would he been firing on? Because
I do not know. It could have been, they may have been wanting, do you know there's also a story now that we lost a nuclear weapon off the coast, the east coast of the United States, and it's actually armed? I mean, there are, how many things out there that are outlandish like that could possibly be the case?
Well, it's happened before. We've had plane, I think it was out in California.
We lost one off the coast of Spain back in the late 50s or early 60s. A B-52 dropped a nuclear bomb off the coast of Spain, and we had a heck of a time retrieving it if we ever did. I don't know that we ever did.
Well, we had one in, I think it was California, Huntington Lake, where it was a plane, or it either went down or it lost its
payload,
its nuclear load there, and in the lake. And I used to go up and, I learned to swim in that lake.
Well.
I know all about it, but maybe that's why I got that, leg that grows out of my back.
Yeah, there's certain glow too. Yes. But
a certain glow to you, Bill.
They had to find it in the lake. I mean, they had to.
Yeah,
eventually.
I believe they did. Yeah, they got that, but but if you look it up, we have haphazardly lost weapons before.
Bill,
but if they can't find it, it's like the trains that we talked about with the explosives on them. Now,
Bill, in 1956 here in Pittsburgh, a B-25 flew into the Monongahela River, and it supposedly had a nuclear weapon on it. That was the big deal. They said, and they came in. They said they came in one night, cordoned off the area, retrieved the B-25 and the bomb, and that was the end of that story. But it's a fact that a B-25 or a B-24, I forgot whether it was a 24 or 20, anyway, crashed into the Monongahela River. And it was a big story locally around here.
You know, you got to wonder because, you know, when they make those bombs, are they totally watertight where water doesn't get inside and get to, I don't know, the nuclear components?
I don't know.
And it doesn't take much to leak out into the water and do something.
Now, getting back to the first part of the story, though, do you think they would have? I find I find it preposterous, that story, but it's out there. It is out there. There are people who are talking about and they talk about many. It's hard on the internet to discern truth from fiction sometimes, but sometimes the fiction ends up being the truth. You know what I'm saying? You know, what do they say? A conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory until it's proven to be true.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. And now I've heard that they found debris, but nobody's officially said they found the plane.
Well, that's exactly right. They found junk. They say it looks like it tore a path. But, you know, folks, if they wanted to stage a recovery site, they could do it in about an hour.
Right. So let's just say, hypothetically, you got these two well-trained pilots and a perfectly good plane that just eject for no reason at all.
I think it was only one.
Or one pilot.
Yeah.
One or two. It doesn't matter. They eject out of the plane. Or
right.
He ejects out of the plane. Or she. Whatever, you know, it was a guy. But either way, the pilot ejects out. It's okay. The plane goes on. Now, nobody knows exactly where the plane is. Well, we did find a debris field. Mm-hmm. They know exactly where that plane was at all times. I can tell you that for certain. Did the plane have a predetermined course that it flew itself somewhere? And
hey, if they can fly drones around the world unmanned,
right?
Can't they create an airplane that can fly unmanned to any place around the world too?
Yeah. So let's just say that somebody nefarious wanted to give away the technology.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a nice way to cover it up?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what happened because there's two good theories there. One, it was a nice way to hide giving away some technology. Number two is what you were talking about.
I just don't know how you lose what did they say? It was a multi-billion-dollar airplane? Mm-hmm. How do you lose it? I mean, I said to you the first day I heard the story, I said, if I lost my iPhone, I have an app that says find my phone. And I can find out exactly where on the planet my phone is. And don't they have that on an F-35? Is that the one thing the $1 billion didn't cover? Tracking the airplane?
Yeah, we got to save some money on this plane. $35 billion. Look, forget about the tracking device. It doesn't need it. It's a $35 billion plane there.
Every pilot's got an iPhone. We'll track their phone. You know, holy smokes.
Yeah, but he ejected.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Who'd have thought on that one?
Unbelievable. Anyway, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Mr. Zelensky is in town. And he's making the rounds. He started out at the UN. He gave a speech at the UN telling the world how important it is to win in the Ukraine. Now, they talk about being a democracy in the Ukraine. They talk about being a great democracy. Do you know he postponed the elections next year? He put them off.
Really?
There's no elections. So, okay, democracy, but no elections next year. We're not going to have any elections because it would be too expensive and too complicated during a war to have an election, so you'll just keep this government, period. Thank you very much.
Said the dictator.
Yeah,
yes,
and also, as far as this religious stuff, the Church of the Ukraine, the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, some of you guys have been saying things about me and the administration, so we're going to shut down the entire church. No more church in the Ukraine because we're a democracy. This guy...
Worship your leaders.
This guy's a dictator.
Yeah.
This Zelensky is a dictator. He is not to be trusted. He's here. He was in Washington. He said, I would like to speak in front of a joint session of Congress again.
Why?
Now, McCarthy, he may rattle my cage on different things, but he came through on this. He said, no. Request denied. You've already been here once and spoken in front of Congress, in front of a joint session. Once is enough. We have a lot of things that we're working on, including our budget that has to be resolved by September 30th, and we're not going to get there if we have other distractions. So I'm sorry, not this time around. But, Joe Biden is not one to be deterred.
No.
He was,
because Zelensky got a parting gift, I understand.
Well, he came to the White House and they greeted him like he was an old relative. And you know how Joe treats his relatives. Mm-hmm. He gives them money. But he did say they're sitting at a long conference room table. He's sitting right across from Zelensky, and Biden gets up. And first you'll hear a reporter screaming a question. Listen.
Are you confident that Congress is going to support your efforts to get this supplemental aid? Did you get any assurances?
I'm counting on the good judgment of the United States Congress. There's no alternative. Thank you. All right, we ready?
Thank you so much.
See, I don't know if you caught that or not, because the first part of the answer was the typical Biden mumble. It was like, are you kidding me? Is this how he warms his vocal cords up before he speaks now? But then he says, the United States Congress, it has no alternative. Wait a second, pal. The United States Congress has no alternative. We've got to sign more billions of dollars over to this dictator in the Ukraine.
$325 billion.
I was thinking, Bill, let me ask you a question. Let's say Russia is run by some bad guys, and let's say that the Ukraine is run by some bad guys. Why do we have to be involved with the war between two bad guys?
Because we're the third bad guy.
Not the answer that you want to hear, but I think there's a lot of truth to it.
I got to ask you a question, though. Mm-hmm. We just gave yesterday, or Joe Biden gave of your money, another $325 billion.
Oh.
So, when Joe is reaching for this money,
how does he do it?
Where is he reaching? Is he reaching to the sky to grab it out of the sky? Or is derriere? Where is it coming from? Because I sure as hell don't have it. Do you?
No, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about this the other day. We're in the trillions, with our debt. Multi-trillions of dollars.
That's Trump's fault. That has nothing to do with Joe
second.
Or anything now.
Who do we owe this debt to? Who are we indebted to?
Well, now, you're asking a question you really shouldn't ask, because that's the oligarchs and that is the person calling the shots.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Enough of this nonsense. You all can play like you're a happy little democracy, but we're the rich guys at the table, and you will follow our orders. You will do what we tell you to do.
Is it some guy in a dark room in what is it, BlackRock?
It could be, yeah. Yeah,
because they own everything.
Yeah, it could very well be. When you have your hands into just about, like Bill said, everything on the planet.
I think they do have their hands into everything. No matter what you have in front of you right now, you look around you, they own a fundamental part of the manufacturing of whatever that item is. They own, when you buy a house, I went to PNC Bank and I financed it through them. Well, they may have financed it, but they sell that loan, and then they sell it to somebody, or that person sells it, and it ends up at one end resort, and that place is probably BlackRock.
Rand Paul was talking about the Ukraine situation, and he's on our side. Listen.
There's also this incredible story about an American journalist, Gonzalo Lira. He's reportedly right now in prison in Ukraine on allegations of spreading Russian propaganda. I don't understand this, that Joe Biden could approve $113 billion of money to Ukraine, and yet he has not tried to get this American journalist out of prison there. How is that possible?
It's even worse than that, Maria. They've canceled the elections. What kind of democracy has no election? So next year, Zelensky said he's not going to have an election because it would be inconvenient during the war and would be expensive. Well, the thing is, if you don't have elections, why in the world would we be supporting a country that's not a democracy? They've banned the political parties. They've invaded churches. They've arrested priests. So, no, it isn't a democracy. It's a corrupt regime. And are the Russians any better? No, the Russians are worse. But at the same time, we don't always have to pick some side to be on. But the ultimate reason I'm against this is we don't have the money. And when we borrow more money, it leads to more inflation, leads to more likelihood of recession in our country. And so we just can't keep doing it.
And, for people out there who are older, you might remember that back in 1959, when Cuba was having a revolution, there were two sides, and we picked a side that was led by a guy named Fidel Castro. We picked the side of Fidel Castro against a guy named Baptista. And Baptista was a corrupt dictator, but he wasn't a communist. So we picked and supported Fidel, gave him guns, gave him money, just like we're doing with this guy in the Ukraine right now. And as a matter of fact, there was another similarity. The guy in the Ukraine doesn't dress up in a suit either. He dresses up in military khakis all the time. By the way, he was never a soldier. He was a comedian, but he likes that khaki look. So he wears khakis all the time. And Fidel Castro did the same thing. Fidel Castro went around in khakis all the time in his traditional hat, military hat. We have many times supported the bad guys. Unfortunately, I think we're doing it again, and Biden is enthusiastically doing it again. And
yeah,
Bill,
he is.
They said $115 billion. You said he just signed over another $325 billion?
No. And I was just going to say, if I said billion, I was wrong. It's $325 million.
Oh, then it's nothing, Bill. That's
chicken. I don't care. You know what? That's 700 million shy of a billion.
Yeah.
The simple fact is $325 million. My bad if I said billion, because I got excited in the moment. It doesn't matter. Where is this money coming from?
Yeah. Well, it's not.
I mean, I don't think he's reaching. Well, he is reaching for the sky, but I think his derriere's up there too, and that's where the money's coming from.
Well, we have a border that's falling apart. We're supporting the wrong war. We backed out of the Afghan war, rather, embarrassingly, and we couldn't have done it any worse, than how Joe Biden did it. Like I've said before, please show me one thing that Biden has done that has been good for the country. He brags about Bidenomics. That's a lie, folks. That is an absolute unadulterated lie. You get somebody like Janet Yellen up there saying, well, the gas prices now are down at a low from last year. Yeah, it's down at a low from last year because last year's was a record high compared to 2 years before.
But, if you tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. And that's the old saying. And that's because people's memories don't go that far.
You know who said that? You know who said that line? Who? Joseph Goebbels, who was the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler. You tell a lie.
He was absolutely
enough,
right.
Yep. It becomes.
And, we express that, today's generation that's out there right now, let's say the kids are 20, 21, they don't care about 911. We talked about that on 911 because it didn't happen when they were alive, or if they were alive, they were just a couple of years old. Had no bearing on them as far as they know. So it's not relevant.
This new mayor in Chicago, have you heard about what he's done? He is, he's opening up, I think he spent $29 million of money that the city of Chicago doesn't have to build homes, or I guess shelters, for the illegals that have come into the city of Chicago. Here's a story right here. Residents of Chicago are begging Mayor Brandon Johnson to stop accepting more illegal immigrants, but he clearly is not listening. Instead, the mayor has just signed a $29 million contract to build camps for illegal migrants into the city. So that's not just come to Chicago. That's come on down to Chicago. That's
okay. We're building camps.
Yeah, camps.
What kind of camps? How
I would
good
imagine
are these camps?
I would imagine they'll be like in parks and rural areas of the city. They'll probably, or maybe they'll tear some buildings down and put up some nice little shelters. They won't be tents. They will not be tents. They probably will be more like military barracks, but they'll be warm and they'll get food and they'll have a place to hang and talk about what they're going to do and why they're in the country. You know, a lot of these people, there's some speculation that a lot of these military-aged people who are in this country were sent here from their country by their governments, that this is a plan. I mean, if you want to cause upheaval in the United States, what better way than to send in your troops in disguise and once they're there, get them all together and start wreaking havoc on the USA. We don't know who these people are. You know, they said we're going to give you IDs. They're going to make IDs for these people. I was thinking, I don't think the citizens of the U.S. should have chips, in their hands. I don't like that thing. It's like the mark of the beast. But there's part of me that says the illegals should have chips in their hands so that we know where they are.
No matter what we do with them or to them, they're here now. We build these little cities. Well, 10, 20 years down the road, it's going to be deemed how cruel they were to them. They built these cities, and we put them in them like we detained the Japanese city. In World War II, these internment camps. So, that's what they're doing. They need reparations.
Absolutely.
So this is a never-ending spigot of money for these people. I'm sorry, but you're going to be paying forever for this.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Kaboom.
Anyway, Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about the border situation by Steve Ducey. I don't know whether you heard about this. Do I have Karine's little audio clip here? I know I recorded it, but I don't see it on my... Please stand by. Smoke them if you got them.
I don't got them.
Well, then don't smoke them.
I won't.
Okay.
No smoking around here.
Karine Jean-Pierre was talking with Steve Ducey. She was at the podium. And listen to how she handled an honest question from an established cable network. Listen.
What do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP put forth wait, no, you can't.
Karine?
I'm answering. Okay, we're going to move
You're answering
on. No, we're moving on.
Karine,
moving.
please.
In the back.
You said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No. I tried to answer, Peter, I tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
Did you hear that? She shut him down. She didn't have an answer. He asked, she was looking for an out, and he was trying to get her to stay on target with the question. He asked, what do you do when you have 10,000 people storming the border, right? What do you do with these people? And she didn't have an answer for him. And so she
tried to make him look bad.
And so she took the off-ramp. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to play it again because a lot of people might have missed that. Listen one more time.
What do you call it here at the White House when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So what do you call it, Peter, when GOP put forth wait, no, you can't.
Karine?
I'm answering. Okay, we're going to move
You're answering
on. No, we're moving on.
Karine, please.
In the back.
You said you were stopping the flow at the border.
No. I tried to answer, Peter. I tried to answer the question. You stopped me. Let's go.
Karine, you tried to answer. No. Karine, please. Anybody who looks at that knows that you're lying.
That was rehearsed.
Yeah. Well, it worked. I mean, I say it worked. It worked for her. She was able to shut him down. But by the way, I would ask, when have you ever seen a press secretary for the president shut off a reporter like that? I'm just not going to answer your question.
Well, since Biden got in,
Yeah.
they take no questions. They give no answers. They will give dictates. Today, a dictate is coming down about the gun violence prevention, whatever it is, agency that he's introducing, and they're going to be able to look at different gun laws and Second Amendment laws. That's going to be a real great thing. They are,
and
Joe is going to, and the left is going to continue to attack.
Is that the panel that's going to be headed by John Brennan and James Clapper?
Yeah,
two of the most swarmy, deep state people in the entire city, in the entire country, are going to handle the situation. These are the guys; they can't be trusted. I think John Brennan, by the way, I forgot the story, but neither of these two guys are honest people. So, of course, that means that they're perfect for this administration,
right?
And Biden is amazing. His Department of Justice was asked about why they pick on Catholics. Catholics have become a target, and they didn't get a straight answer from Merrick Garland. He was very good at evading the question too. But I was thinking, here's this guy Biden who, at every opportunity, is saying, "Well, I went to 7:30 mass, and I went to St. Stephen's School, and so." He's always trying to make it sound like he is Father Murphy's right-hand man or something. He's an acolyte at the seminary. He tries to make it sound like he's a good Catholic. He is anything but a good Catholic. He is the opposite of being a good Catholic. So much so that he allows his administration to essentially attack his religion. But that's okay, because he's Joe Biden, and he thinks he can do anything. They can break the law.
He lost his religion a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Bill. He sure did. I would say that, forget being a good Catholic, I would say he's not even a good Christian. This guy probably is
he's not.
A man of very little faith who pretends to be a man of faith. Anything else you want to add today, my friend, before we...
well, there's a couple of things. Apparently, Biden, I guess his administration is worried now because he's admitting that I may not make it to the second election. Biden apparently is mumbling to his staff that he thinks he's going to die soon. He's already killed the American dream, so I guess maybe he's thinking he's going to join that.
Well,
and, we can...
I often, when I hear something like that, I think, what does he know that we don't know?
Well, you're exactly right. What does he know that we don't know? What is that? Hobby Lobby. Did you hear about the lady that bought the papier-mâché pumpkin?
No.
Well, it's a decoration. She put it out,
Halloween
went to work, came home. The dog had chewed up the pumpkin.
Wow.
And she found interesting stuff inside.
Inside the pumpkin?
Yes. Apparently some sensitive secret documents, that they had internally, that they used to make the pumpkin, that were legible, that she could take it out and read it, that there was some kind of court case ruling with bank account numbers and everything for $3 million, So now this story leaking out there, everybody's going to Home Depot to
buy a pumpkin.
Or not Home Depot, but Hobby Lobby to buy those papers. I'm going like, wouldn't that be something if that was just a made-up fake
You
document?
want to sell a lot of pumpkins? That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the little girl? I forgot what state it was in. I think, was it Colorado or someplace? She was out in the desert with her grandfather, and I guess she was at a site that they had newly excavated. She found a big, fat, like 3 or 4 carat pure diamond.
I'd take that.
Yeah, I would too.
Because I have a jeweler that could cut that son of a gun right away.
There was not a flaw in the diamond. It was a perfect diamond. They said it was amazing. The little girl,
no carbon, nothing.
So she's going to keep that diamond. I'm sure she's going to lock that away somewhere maybe for college or something like that, or maybe she'll.
There's some money there that that. You got that text I sent you. I was out doing some business yesterday, and I was talking to the guy. I was at a gun shop. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about New York and the simple fact that, do you know that now it's been for the past 3 weeks? If you go, I got a 9mm gun or whatever you got, doesn't matter. You go in New York to buy, some boxes,
4 or 5 boxes of ammunition, 6 boxes of ammunition.
Yeah, you're going to go out this weekend and shoot a few targets or something like that. Okay, no. You've got to do a background check in the state of New York now to buy ammunition. And you're only allowed 3 boxes if you pass the test.
Wait a second. 3 boxes a day? So you have to, if you wanted to get 6 boxes, you could go 2 days in a row, or do you have to wait a certain period of time between buying the box?
I didn't. We didn't go that far in the conversation. I said, why do you have to? I've never had to do I didn't have to do a background check yesterday here to sit there and buy my ammunition. I sure didn't. So why are they doing that in New York? This is a new thing there. I know that they're going around doing the crackdown on everything.
You heard about Kathy Hochul? I guess that's her name, the governor of New York, who, there's video of her welcoming all the illegals to New York. We're a city of open arms, a city of warmth. We're diverse. We're multicultural. You'll love it in New York. And then there's a video of her on CNN over the weekend or a couple of days ago where she's saying, if you're thinking of coming into the country, go somewhere else. Don't, we're all full here in New York. Yeah. She has, the smile is not as broad on the second comment as it was on the first comment in which you could score points. But anyway, hey, listen, we've just about done it for today's program. Of course, the weekend's coming up. We have an update tomorrow. But I wanted to say, we've been asking for people to send us emails.
Oh, yeah, we've been getting some, actually,
I want to say hello to Denise in Connecticut. I want to say hello to Karen in Rhode Island. I want to say hello to Bart down in Florida. And a special hello to Brett out in Pleasant Grove, Utah, who sent us an email. And if you would like to do the same and get mentioned, we won't mention last names because we don't want to get you in trouble or have people making comments, but we will love to say hello to you. Just send it to one of our email addresses. First of all, let me give you the phone number here. It's 833-538-7868, 833-538-7868. So if you want to say hello on the phone and leave a message, you can do that too. But if you want to have your name mentioned on the show, like we just did with Brett out in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and Karen and Denise and Bart down in Florida, all you have to do is send us an email to any one of our email addresses, which are?
Well, mail at itsanotherday.com. I'm glad you asked, sir. There's also mail at jimandbill.com and jimandbill@mail.com.
I love that name, Pleasant Grove, Utah. It just sounds like a nice town, doesn't it? Pleasant Grove.
What goes on in Utah?
No, that's Nevada. That's Las Vegas. That's a whole different story.
Utah, yeah.
Utah is beautiful country. I've been to Utah, and it's God's country out there. Anyway, my friend, that's just about going to do it. We are wrapped up. I want to tell you what happened to me yesterday. I was minding my own business, working in my yard, and this woman was on the sidewalk walking her dog, and she was walking down the sidewalk, and she stopped, and she turned to me, and she said, "Excuse me, are you the man who has a partner on a podcast who says that comment?" You know what comment that was?
Oh, is she talking about hasta la vista, baby? We're out of here.
The voice of freedom, CRN America. These days, when you want an answer about just about anything, you ask Alexa. You ask her about the weather. You ask her who won your favorite sporting event. You ask her to find a fact that you can't find anywhere. Well, we did that too. We asked her how many people have downloaded itsanotherday.com. And this is what she said.
From acceleration.com. It has been downloaded as much as 260,433,467 times.
I know. Seems like a lot. seems like a lot to us too. But it's Alexa. Thanks for making us a part of your day. And tell your friends about itsanotherday.com. We could use an extra listener. I mean, what do you do when you only have 260 million?